Hi, Cindy Cross here from the Post and Rail. Today we're making fresh cheeses from scratch. The good news is you've probably already got these things that we need to make the cheese in your house. So I'll just run through the things that you need. We need milk, we need vinegar, we need a pot for boiling, we need some sort of sieve or slotted spoon like this. You might have a different kind of one. If you want to be fancy schmancy, you can get some cheesecloth. But honestly, most of the time, I don't have cheesecloth on hand, but I have a brand new, unused Chux cloth or dishcloth. And that does the same thing, because we're going to drain the curds from the whey, and that's what you need. So let's talk about the milk. I use full cream milk. There's more fat in full cream milk. So what we're actually doing is separating the curds from the whey or coagulating the fat out of the milk. We do that using the vinegar, and if you can use skinny milk, but it will give you less because there's less fat in it. But that's totally fine. If that's all you've got and you need to use it up, no worries at all. So this is just full cream milk and vinegar. Now let's talk the vinegar. The vinegar, I just use white vinegar, but you can use apple cider vinegar or white wine vinegar, just something not too flavoursome. So you can't really use balsamic vinegar here. It would impart too much flavour. You can also use lemon juice. Now, I think that's how the original cheese first got made. And you can still use it, absolutely. However, it does leave a lemony flavour, and it's also called lemon cheese. Totally worth doing if that's what you've got to hand and you like that flavour. But I like to just keep mine with white vinegar, so it's just making ricotta, and then I can choose what to do with it after that. So let's get started. All we need to do is put 2 litres of milk into your pot. It doesn't matter if it's been out of the fridge for a while or it can just be cold from the fridge, it doesn't actually matter. Okay, now we've poured the milk in, all we have to do is put it on the heat. So I just put it on the heat, and of course I haven't got heaps of time in my day, so that's on full bore, full high whack of heat. Everyone's measurement is different. I just gave it a little stir, and I'll stir it a couple of times. But what we're looking to do is actually bring that milk up to bloody hot but not boiling. Now, you're probably going to laugh at that, but that's an actual measurement. If you have a coffee thermometer, it's where you froth the milk to in that red line, which is, I can't see, it's about 70, 80 degrees. Or if you have one of these little fancy gadgets, it can actually tell you the temperature. At the moment it's 12 degrees, so way off, but basically we don't want it to boil, we just want it to get hot before it boils, before we add the vinegar. And then the magic happens. So however long that takes for you, I'm actually going to put this coffee thermometer in, not for my sake, but for your sake, because I know what bloody hot but not boiling feels like on my finger when I test it. You're welcome to do it however you like, but basically don't boil it. Okay? So can you come up close? So it's been about 2 minutes so far. This really is done in less than 5 minutes, really. Just giving it a light stir, making sure it's not sticking. A couple more minutes and we'll be there. So you can see we've reached temperature. We're good. And here it says 70 degrees or 160 Fahrenheit. So that's good. Now I'll show you the method that I actually do to check it myself. So I want just very, very technical, this one. Oh, that's bloody hot, but it's not boiling. Silly, but there you go. We've got half a cup here of vinegar, just white vinegar. And I want you to watch as, within a few seconds, I'm going to pour it in and it's going to separate into curds and whey really quickly. Here we go. Give it a gentle stir. And wait for it, and it's happening. Can you see how it's separated? Now here's my little tip at this point. If you think that there's still some white instead of clear liquid, you can add a tiny bit more splash of vinegar, because milks change all the time and it just means you have to add a little bit more. Now you can see we've got a beautiful clear solution there. And we've got the curds, and that's how quickly it happens. We just made ricotta. You can either pour it through the sieve and the cheesecloth, which is what I'm going to do today, or you can ladle it out. You can sit it here for a few minutes as well. Generally, I'm usually in a bit too much of a rush for waiting, because I know we've captured we've got a good separation. So what I'm going to do is line this with the cheesecloth. It's just doubled over once, and I'm going to pour it in. Here you go. And that's how easy it is to make ricotta. It's incredible. At the moment, it's not very flavoursome, so I'm actually going to be adding about 1/4 teaspoon of salt to this ricotta. And that way it will then last, when it's cooled, it will last in the fridge for at least a week, covered of course. And it will actually have a flavour of the cream and the milk and the cheese kind of thing that we've just drain it for a little bit longer until we're it's moist but not visually seeing the whey in it. Of course, that's really hot, so don't do that with your hand if you can't handle the heat, or you can put rubber glove on. Or you can just sit there and let it like drip, drain. It's quite satisfying, I've got to say. I love it. Let's check it again. So if we squeeze all the juice out of it, it's going to be quite dry. And that looks good to me. So now we're ready to put that into a bowl and add some salt, and then use it from then on. You just made ricotta. Okay. Sea salt is also very good. I just don't like table salt. And so now this has some flavour. And it's still quite juicy and moist. So it's time for a taste. It's still warm, but it's going to be beautiful. It's delicious. Wow, that is so much better than the ricotta that you buy. Perhaps it's just because it's been freshly made. But it's really creamy and cheesy at the same time. You're going to have to make it and find out yourself.